I thought you'd learned this lesson by now. Stop. Stop and think. Stop and think why you are really buying. Why do you want this bike? Have you thought about this one? Ah, so you want that one now, Jim. I see. But, what about that one? Over there. Ah, not a bad idea at all. Hey, but have you thought about this one? Or this one? Or this one? Or these? Oh, dear. Pretty confusing, isn't it? My friend, you are going to have to sit down and think before you rush in. If you can work out why you really want a bike, then you'll be on the way to knowing what sort of bike to choose. Yes, my friends, Jim is onto a winner. He's learned one of the great lessons in consumer capers. Before rushing in and making his decision, what's he going to do? He's going to investigate and shop around.
Oh, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, he's really on the right track now. What's this? It says only one left. But he's not taken in, oh no. If it's not the one he wants, he won't buy. Who cares about the free skateboard? He's looking for a bicycle that will suit him. Hi, got any bikes for $200? Asked Jim. Hey, here's a find. $130. It looks as good as the $199 one in the other shop. And remember, cheaper things can be just as good as expensive ones. Oh, $200, you say? Well, let's see what we can do. Jim, are you looking for a bike that will suit what you really want, or are you wanting all this? Hey, don't give up yet. Get some more information. Jim is going to find out why this bike is more expensive. It doesn't look much different. There might not be any difference. Well, Jim is told that this one is a stronger bike. It won't break as easily. It's made of high-quality materials, and unlike the other bike, this one is covered by a guarantee. Oh, Jim is confused, and there's still the other bikes to consider. He did like this one, but it cost a bit more than he's allowed to spend. Well, he could use some of his own money that he'd been saving for a... But Jim, there could be other ways of looking at this problem. There could be an alternative. Here's an alternative. A second-hand bike. It's within the $200 limit, and it looks okay. But what sort of treatment has it had? And there's no after-sales service with it. Yeah, not too sure, are you? Well, hang on, Jim. Here comes something else to help you if you want to succeed in consumer capers. The what-if game. What if? Well, what if Jim bought the smart, more expensive fun bike? He'd be able to get around with all the gang and have great fun on those tracks. Hi, here's Jim now. Hi, Jim. Yes, it does look like fun. But if he did, what would he miss out on? Well, he wouldn't be able to go for long, fast rides in the country, and that's something he'd like to do. These bikes just aren't built for long distances. Oh, yeah, there's a long way to go yet, Jim. And even though they're very popular bikes now, what about next month or next year? Fashions change very quickly. Buying just to be one of the gang can work out quite expensive. So, what if he bought the cheaper version of the same bike? It looks good, and if he's careful... As I said, if he doesn't take too many spills on it, but he has. And now I wonder just how much it's gonna cost to mend. So, what if he bought the strong, heavy bike? Well, you won't be seeing much of Jim on the track with the gang. But, on the other hand, Jim can have fun on it and make a bit of pocket money, too. Now, if he bought the smart, brand-new racing bike, he can get out into the country and go for those long rides, and that's something he'd love to do. And the fashion for these bikes just doesn't change. He could still be racing it when he's 90. But on the other hand, buying it would mean paying extra from his own pocket money. Money he was saving for that transistor radio he wanted. So what if he bought the not-so-smart second-hand racing bike? Well, this might happen. There's no guarantee with this bike, and repairs to these machines can be complicated and costly. But on the other hand, it is within the $200 limit, and Jim's a smart lad. With a bit of paint and sandpaper and good old-fashioned know-how, he could make it good as new. So, what's it to be? There's the good points of each bike, and then there's the bad points of each bike. He'd gain something from each bike, but then he'd miss out on something else. Of course, some of the good points may not be all that good. Jim's imagination can make things seem much better than they might really be. Does Jim really want to go on long rides in the country? Is it always as great as he thinks it is? Oh, yes. There's a long road ahead, my lad. Well, and you are looking mighty tired. Just because all the gang do something, does that mean that Jim will like it too? Jim, this sort of bike might not be your cup of tea. And those early morning paper deliveries. Sounds fine. But are they all that they're cracked up to be? Especially on a cold winter's morning. So, it's back to you, Jim. You've done it all by the book. Asked questions, shopped around, looked for alternatives, and thought about what you'd miss out on and what you'd get if you chose one particular bike and not the others. Well, as I said, it's back to you, Jim. Hey, you're really thinking, I can see. Why do you really want a bike? The big day is getting closer. Ah, and I think you've almost made up your mind. So, which bike did Jim choose? Was it the strong delivery bike? That's the one he could earn some pocket money with and have fun. Or was it the shiny new racing bike, where he'd go for long, happy rides in the country and last him a lifetime? Or was it the smart, popular bike? He could have lots of fun with all the gang on this one. Or was it... Well, it's not really important which bike Jim chose. Whichever it is, he's sure to be happy with it. But it was his decision, and he made it carefully. What's more important is, which one would you choose? Bye now.
And we mothers-to-be in that vote. Oh well, that brings us to the end of Behind the News for today. Next week, John will be back looking at air safety, Egyptian mummies, a family in Papua New Guinea, and yesterday the Russians landed a spacecraft on Venus, so we'll see what we can find out about Venus. Goodbye.
Bonjour.